Okay, give it a few minutes. Hold on. Okay. I think we should be good. Welcome to the Wrestling Pod. Actually, welcome to the Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Carlito Santiago, and today we're here to talk about what went down on Friday Night SmackDown. Shout out to Chris Muller for the Bleacher Report. We were in San Jose, California. We're just over a week away from WrestleMania 42, so WWE needs to do as much as possible to make the show feel like a must-see pay-per-view, as it will be the final SmackDown, technically, to me, the final SmackDown before WrestleMania. The Eradicator, Rhea Ripley, spoke. The show opened with a recap of Pat McAfee attacking Cody Rhodes and with Randy Orton during last week's episode. Outside the arena, Rhodes was told by Nick Aldis that he had strict orders not to touch McAfee or Orton. Jelly Roll showed up and was told the same thing, and of course made sure that he was that Cody knew that he had his back. When we went live in the arena, Rhea Ripley came out to talk about Jade Cargill going after Io Sky. She called out Jade for a fight, but Io Sky showed up. She told Rhea that since she's got Jade at Mania, she wants to face the champion tonight to get revenge. Aldis booked it for the main event, so a short segment, but that was to its benefit. Ripley did not need to speak for 10 minutes about the feud that has been going on for weeks, and not really a good feud. B-. Alexa Bliss took on Bayley. Before they compete for the Women's Tag Team Championships at WrestleMania, Bayley and Alexa Bliss met for a singles match this week. These two know each other well after both being in WWE for several years. So they have the kind of chemistry that comes with a lot of experience working together. Charlotte and Lyra Valkyria watched from ringside as Bayley took control heading into a break. Coming back after the break, Alexa Bliss began building up some momentum. Bayley was in control for most of it, but now Bliss is willing to come back. The tag title feud has helped feature a lot of great performers, but it was nice to see two of them get a chance to shine in one-on-one contest. Since both were babyfaces, there were no heel shenanigans or interferences. Bliss ended up scoring with the win with a roll-up after Bayley got distracted by Flair and Valkyria outside the ring. The ending protected Bayley while giving Bliss a mostly clean win. Fair. And that's a good thing to go by, they protected Bayley in this. So, with protecting Bayley, it seems to me as if Bayley and Lyra Valkyria are winning the tag titles at Mania, which I will mention here is part of the prediction that I have. So, don't forget, predictions come out Thursday, next week. B+, probably the best thing on the show, all the way around. The debut of Powerhouse Hobbs, a.k.a. Royce Keys, versus Humberto. See, a video package for Royce Keys highlighted his journey to WWE, minus basically all of his time in AEW due to the unavailability of the footage. Following the break, he made his way to the ring for his SmackDown debut against Humberto. Humberto tried to play some mind games by going behind Keys and slapping his head a few times, but the Powerhouse immediately nailed a clothesline to take him down, before picking him up off the ground for a slam in one fluid motion. Angel pulled his cousin out of the ring to help, but it allowed Berto to shove Keys into the ring post to gain some control for a moment. Though not completely a squash, Keys definitely dominated 90% of the action to help establish himself. This was short, but what we saw looked good. Royce Keys hit a big spine buster for the 1-2-3 victory. Let's hope WWE put some effort behind his initial push, since it took months to use him after his debut. C+. Jacob Fatu also had a backstage segment with Solo Sikoa and the MFTs, which led to Tama Tonga and Fatu agreeing to a singles match. Pat McAfee spoke, and God shut the fuck up. Pat McAfee came out and immediately insulted the San Jose crowd by calling the town a shithole. He called himself a hero and said stars like Punk are spineless bums. It almost felt like they are building to Punk versus McAfee at some point, because they both address each other in promos. That doesn't necessarily mean they'll have to face each other. It means that they'll at some point come to a head. Not a match, but they'll come face to face at some point. This was as heelish as a promo can get. He was insulting fans like as if he was The Rock, but he's not, because The Rock actually knows how to hit insults properly. The crowd gave him a little heat, but it seemed like they weren't just into it, honestly. I wasn't into it either. I stopped after listening fucking halfway through his bullshit rant. Thank God Cody interrupted to respond. He said everyone wants to see Orton at Mania, but nobody wants to see Pat, and told him to go home and stop being a, quote, play wrestler. Cody was about to leave when Pat insulted him one too many times, and he started heading back to the ring. But Orton appeared on the Titantron and showed that he had attacked Jelly Roll backstage. I just like saying Jelly Roll that way. I don't know. What do you guys think about my pronunciation of Jelly Roll? Let me know in the comments down below. Pat McAfee distracted Rhodes so Orton could attack him from behind. The Viper then planted the American Nightmare with a draping DDT. This could have been a good segment, but either McAfee was given some bad lines to say or he chose them on his own. Regardless of which one it was, it didn't work. It didn't hit the mark. It didn't do anything. Nobody was invested. McAfee could be so valuable, but WWE's dropping the damn ball. Rhodes and Orton were alright, but it wasn't enough to save the segment. C-. Jelly Roll confronted McAfee backstage, but Aldis stepped in to prevent it from turning sour. So, there's that. Jacob Fatu took on Tama Tonga. Jacob Fatu was out first for his match against Tama Tonga. As usual, Tama was flanked by the rest of the MFTs. Fatu backed Tonga to the corner and made a clean break. But Tama kicked him, and it started an exchange of strikes. There was a time when Fatu would have dominated Tonga, but they're on a more even playing field. See, with Tama Tonga being out for so long, he was able to build up a lot more muscle. So now he has something to prove. Fatu and Tonga had a solid back and forth fight. It never really felt like either guys was in control for too long, so it felt more competitive. Fatu got the victory with his trademark moonsault. And surprisingly, the MFTs did not rush the ring to attack him like they usually would for any other match. Because the usual interruption or attack was made by McIntyre. He took out the longest pair of handcuffs ever made and used them to whip Fatu into the ring post. He tried to use them to tie Fatu to the ring post and then do something else, but that didn't work out because one of the cuffs kept releasing. So he just kept beating him. Aldis then booked, of course, Kit Wilson and Danhausen for a match backstage. The Miz was pretty funny in this. So this whole entire match between Fatu and Tonga, C+. And it gives me a little bit more for McIntyre and Fatu's story, so I have a leaning prediction for that. But you'll get it on Thursday. Sami Zayn doesn't know what he did wrong, and Trick Williams then took on Matt Cardona. Sami Zayn came out and tried to appeal to the crowd. He was getting some boos, but he said he would never turn on the fans who have supported him, which sounds something like what a heel would say. He asked the crowd why they were booing since he didn't know what he did wrong. But then he said he didn't care because the Ride or Die fans are still there for him. This is when Trick Williams and Little Yachty came out to insult the United States champion. The crowd was way more behind Tricky Will than Zayn. Zayn said the crowd might like Trick, but they don't love him yet. He promised to give Williams the fight of his life at WrestleMania. This was a solid exchange that helped hype up their match for Mania. But before the break, Matt Cardona came out because he had a match with Williams. They got started during a picture-in-picture segment. While the match itself wasn't too bad, the result being so obvious ahead of time made it hard to care. Williams was not about to lose to Cardona this close to WrestleMania. They fought through another break, so they had a good amount of time to work and made this feel like more than a throwaway, despite the predictability. Williams got the win, but Little Yachty took the bullet because he was taken out by a haluva kick before the win. Backstage segment with Danhausen, Truth, and Priest was pretty funny. Rhea Ripley also took out B-Fab to end the segment. Not only that, but this was a B-, so it looks like this is another thing on the card to go out of your way and see. But here's something I can say you can go out of your way and see. Danhausen took on Kit Danhausen-Wilson. Danhausen finally made his in-ring debut for WWE this week, and his first match was against Kit Wilson. The Miz accompanied Wilson to the ring. Wilson puffed up his chest as he had a standoff with Danhausen, and Danhausen drop-kicked him, then hit a Northern Lights suplex for a quick 2 count. As Wilson was on the top turnbuckle, preparing for a move, Danhausen sat up and casted a curse on Wilson as he was at the top rope. And Pyro went off behind him, hitting Wilson below the belt, of course, as he fell off the turnbuckle. So he's on the turnbuckle. So just so you guys get aware, he's on the turnbuckle, he's on the turnbuckle. Then, curse, fucking Pyro goes off. I don't know if you can see that, but that's how his nuts were. That's how his legs were. That's how Wilson ended up below the belt. The painted faced man took advantage of the moment and scored the win. As the Miz prepared for a sneak attack, Hausen escaped when the lights turned off. Some matches are designed just for comedy, and this was one of them, but they did a good job with it. Wilson and the Miz have great facial expressions and reactions to everything. The match won't win awards, but it was enjoyable, and it will be enjoyable because rumors has it that Kit Wilson and the Miz challenged Danhausen to a match at WrestleMania. Looking at it might be a handicap match. I think Danhausen will have a tag team partner. That tag team partner probably will be Royce Keys. C+, it's something to go out of your way and see this match. The main event, of course, brought to you by Hard Cider. Angry Orchard Hard Cider. I think that was what it was in the ring. I might be mistaken. Probably wasn't. But the main event brought you, of course, 8 minutes left in the show, where Cargill and Io Sky wasted little time. And this is what sucks. To hear that it started about 8 minutes left in the show sucks. That means that this promo with Zayn cut it short. And then fucking top that with Pat McAfee speaking or going on a fucking rant, even cut it more. This sucks. Especially when it's with the women in the main event. Io was the star here, but Cargill looked like she had continued working on her game and improving. She looks more confident than ever in her movements, but she still has some rough edges that need sanding down. They did a good job making this a competitive fight with limited time. Cargill got the win with Jaded, but Rhea Ripley was there in a heartbeat to prevent her from attacking Sky with a chair. Graded a C+. Also, Cargill found Michin backstage after she had clearly been attacked by Ripley. So, take them both out of the equation. Thank fuck. And also, there was apparently a commercial in the middle of the main event that was only 8 minutes. And that's ridiculous. See, these goddamn commercials are pissing me off. So, WWE, if you're going to lower ticket prices because guys like Pat McAfee and CM Punk say so, well, guys like me and fucking probably the internet, crew wants you to stop with the and fans around the world, stop with the fucking in between commercial breaks because it's fucking stupid and nobody's fucking wanting to see it, okay? God. So trim that shit the fuck down. Please. Like, this is ridiculous. Just to fucking hear this shit pisses me off. But what do I know? I'm a 20 subscriber YouTube fucking channel. So, what was the final word? Well, Friday Night SmackDowns was a slight improvement over last week's episode, but it still felt like it spent too much time on certain things and not enough on others. Pat McAfee's promo was ill-advised and is likely to lead down to some fan backlash, but Rhodes and Orton did a okay job. Royce Keys finally getting a singles match was a long time coming. Same with Danhausen, finally, of course, getting his first match, but can be said for different reasons. A lot of WrestleMania stories were addressed. We got a couple of decent matches, and there were some funny moments, but this episode still left a lot to be desired. Let's hope next week's go-home show does better to get fans excited for the big PLE of the year. This whole overall show was a C+. But what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. If there's anything to go check out, really, it should be, let's see. It should be Bayley and Bliss. The match with Trick Williams and Matt Cardona and Sami Zayn's talking. Danhausen and Wilson. I think that's about it. But other than that, I think it's pretty safe to say that this show was not that good. So, I will see you guys on Lewis's birthday. Go send him some love. Go send him some happy birthday wishes. I will see you guys on Tuesday. I will see you guys on Thursday. And then, of course, be here next week, next Saturday, next Sunday for the WrestleMania live stream. 5:45 Eastern Standard Time as we set up for WrestleMania. Peace.